श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। Dear friends, now we are in the seventh Anuvaka of the second Valli, that is Brahmananda Valli. So till the sixth Anuvaka we had seen how Shankaracharya has explained the Taittiriya sentences, and now we come to the mantra Asadva idamagra asit tato vai sadajayata tad atmanagum swayamakuruta tasmat tat sukrutamuchyata iti yadvai tat sukrutam raso vai saha rasam hevayam labdva anandi bhavati ko hyeva anyat kaf pranyat yadesha akasha anando na syat esha hyeva anandayati yada hyevaisha etasmin adrishye anatmye anirukte anilayane abhayam pratishtham vindate adhaso bhayam gato bhavati yada hyevaisha etasmin udaram antaram kurute adhatasya bhayam bhavati tatveva bhayam vidusho manvanasya tadapyesha shloko bhavati. This is the mantra. In this mantra we see actually the mantra begins with the statement Asadva idam agre asit. Agre, before its creation, idam, all this that is visible, that is matter of our knowledge, matter of our grasping. So all this world was asadeva asit, was non-existent before its creation. This is the statement. Tato vai sadajayata, and from that asat only, sat ajayata, the existent is born. Tad atmanagum swayama kuruta, and from that sat only, that sat, it had atmanagum swayam akuruta, so it made itself, that is self-born. Tasmat tat sukruta muchyata iti. Therefore it is said that it is sukrutam. Sukrutam, that means it is swakrutam only. Swayamakurta, therefore it is sukrutam. Sukrutam here, swakrutam. That means self-born, self-existent in that sense. Yadvai tat sukrutam, that whichever is self-existent is raso vai saha. That is necessarily, definitely, essentially the rasa. Rasam hevayam labdva anandi bhavati. And this jiva also gets that rasa and becomes anandi. See, we have to observe the three words here. Ayam, anandi, rasam labdva. So he says, Ayam, keeping it in between, rasam labdva anandi bhavati. See, because rasa is the source of all ananda, and when a person or the individual soul gets to that rasa, then gets ananda. So this is actually the source of ananda. That's why raso vai saha, rasaha vai is nischaya, definitely saha. So the Ishvara, Parameshwara, all the ultimate source of all is rasa, the essence. And on getting that rasa, everybody becomes anandi. So this is essentially the theory of Bhakti Sampradaya. Because if the source of everything were not a source of happiness, then there will not be any bhakti at all. We are getting ananda in the bhakti. How? Actually, what are we doing in the bhakti? We are trying to connect ourselves with the Supreme. Then, why are we getting that ananda? Because the Supreme Self is ananda, because we are connecting with that ananda Supreme Self, we are getting that ananda. So this is exactly what is intended. And even in the Brahma Sutra, it is argued in the Vilakshanatva also, in the Arambhana also, it is argued that before its creation, the world must be non-existent, and all of a sudden the world is produced. And the argument goes on like this. Okay, if you say that before its production, the world was non-existent, then what is the authority? Then he quotes this sentence, Asadva idamagra asit. Then Shankaracharya explains there also in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, especially in the Tad Ananyatvam Arambhana Shabdadibhyaha Bhavecha Upalabdheha Satvacha Avarasya Asad Vyapadeshat Neti Chenna Dharmantarena Vakya Seshat. And important sutra there, Yukte Shabdantaracha. So while commenting on this particular sutra, Shankaracharya makes it very clear that if the world was non-existent before its creation, then it would be any non-existent thing like the sky flower. Then even after you make several efforts, that should not be produced, because a sky flower cannot be produced even we make lot of efforts, but the world is made, produced. So on the basis of the world, we should get on to its cause. And if we say before its creation it was non-existent, it is not tenable. So what is the theory finally? It is tad ananyatvam. Finally, the effect is not different from its cause. So effect is nothing but dharmantara. So it is actually manifested with different characteristics. Otherwise, it is the cause only. Mrittika ityeva satyam vacharam bhanam vikaro namadheyam. So we understand from the Chandogya also that Mrittika, that means the original cause is real and the effect is not different from that. It is identical. Tad ananyatvam is the major theory. And for that it is argued that even if you make all efforts, a non-existent thing cannot be produced. If you say that the world is non-existent before its creation, then it cannot be produced, but it is produced. The world is seen everywhere as being produced. So you cannot say that the world was asat before its creation. So here asadva idamagra asit, the asat in the Upanishadic statement should not be taken in the sense of non-existence, but as unmanifestation. So the world was with the cause and it was not distinct. So this non-distinction is what actually implied by the word asat. So asat is not non-existent. This we should not, we should keep in mind. So this is in a way refutation of the Bauddha and to some extent the Mimamsaka also. So this everything is created from that, and that is nothing but Sat. This is what Chandogya Upanishad tells us. And Rasam Hevayam Labdhva Anandi Bhavati. So because the cause is essentially of the nature of Rasa and Ananda, we all get the Ananda. Otherwise, there is no chance of getting the Ananda. So this is a kind of inference from the effect to the cause. We are inferring the cause from the effect. The effect is that we all are experiencing Ananda. And if Ananda is not an ingredient of the universe, we cannot get it, because whatever we are getting is a part of the universe. The body, the mind, everything is part of the universe. Then we are getting Ananda, should be the part of universe. We are getting Jnana, that should be part of the universe. So all that is being perceived, experienced, should be a part of universe. So therefore, Ananda is part of the universe. What part? It is not actually part, but it is the very nature of the Brahman. That's why Brahman is stated as Sat Chit Ananda. And because Brahman is of that nature, we experience the Ananda sometimes, like in the deep sleep, like in Dhyana Samadhi. So that is the idea. Otherwise, if that Brahman were not there, if the Brahman were not of the nature of the Ananda, then ko heva anyat kaf pranyat. So how can we function, we live? How do the prana and apana function? So yadesha akasha anando nasyat esha hyeva anandayati. So therefore it is absolutely proved that esha hi eva, that means the Ishvara or the Brahma or the Atma of the nature of Ananda, Anandayati, he is Anandayati. Anandayati, that means he makes other experience the bliss. Yada hyeva esha etasmin adrishye anatme anirupte anilayane abhayam pratishtham vindate adha, so abhayam gato bhavati. So here esha, so you understand eshaha, that means this individual soul, when he is completely established in that Brahma, the source of all bliss, which is adrishye, which is imperceivable, anatmye, which is not limited like Atma, anirukte, which is not stated by any words, anilayane, which is not limited to a particular place, no spatial limitation. And in that, when the individual soul is totally established, abhayam pratishtham vindate, then he is absolutely established in that. He doesn't have any fear at all. This is exactly what Sadashivendra Saraswati experienced. In the 18th century, there was a great monk, great ascetic, great Vedantin in the Tamil Nadu. Though he belonged originally to Andhra, he maybe his forefathers migrated to that area and he settled there, but he was a great scholar. But when his teacher instructed him to keep quiet, he immediately told his master, from this moment onwards, I will just maintain silence. And that silence he maintained till his last breath. So it is beyond Kashtha Mauna. And he was all the while just established in the Brahma. That's why he never had any fear. When he was in deep meditation on the banks of the Kaveri river, and when there was overflow of the river water, and when he was simply taken in the river waters, he was not aware. And after so many days, he was found somewhere in the sand only. Similarly, when he was passing through the tents of the Muslims there, the Nizam, all that, so somebody cut his shoulder, but he was not aware. It was bleeding, but he was not aware. Manasa Sancharare Brahmani, Manasa Sancharare. That was his high state of beatitude. So Abhayam Pratishtham Vindate. So he is not afraid of anything. He is not bothered about his body and absolutely fearless one Brahman. But Yada Hyeva Esha Etasmin Udaramantaram Kurute. But when the individual soul finds some minute, some iota of fear, some portion of fear within this, then adhatasya bhayam bhavati, then the individual soul gets all fear. Even in the Gaudapada Karika of Mandukya Upanishad also we find a reference to Asparsha Yoga. And there it is said that the yogi also fears. Why? Why to fear in that state of samadhi? Because if there is a remnant of ahankara in that, then there is awareness, but objective world is not fully experienced, only the subject. Then a kind of fear because of the previous tendencies is possible. But when the individual soul or the sadhaka is fully established in the Brahman, then there is no fear at all because it is Ananda. Tatveva bhayam vidusho manvanasya. The Brahman can be the source of fear. It can be the source of Ananda also. It all depends on how we are disposed to that. So if we Asti Brahmeti Ched Veda Santamenam Tado Viduhu, in this manner, if we believe and remain in the Brahman awareness, then there is no fear at all. And this mantra says that if there is slight awareness of Dvaita, the second one, then naturally we forget about Brahma and we bother about the Dvaita, then automatically there will be fear. Tadapyesha shloko bhavati. This is the mantra. Now let us see what Shankaracharya has got to explain. Asadva idamagra asit. Asaditi vyakrita nama rupa vishesha viparita rupam avyakritam brahma uchyate. So here the word asat in the seventh Anuvaka, this particular mantra, implies the Brahman, which is remaining in its pure absolute state of undifferentiated state. This is the state of undifferentiation. Namarupa is the differentiation. That means when the Brahma manifests as the world, then there is Namarupa. This is what Namarupe Vyakara Vani, the Chandogya Upanishad says. And this is differentiation. From the singularity, this is the differentiation. But when it is single, when the world is not differentiated, that particular state is not asat. Asad iva. This is what the towards the end of the sixth Anuvaka, Shankaracharya explained that the word asat should not be taken its direct sense, that is the verbal sense, but it is to be understood as asad iva. This is secondary usage, like some non-existent thing, because it is not expressed, because it is not manifested. Na punaha atyantameva asat. This is very important, that it was Brahman. The world was not absolutely non-existent. Nahi asatas sajjanmasti idamiti namarupa visheshavad avyakritam jagad agre purvam pragutpatter brahmaiva asat shabdavachyam asit. So see, in the world, no non-existent thing can come into existence. We never find a non-existent thing coming into existence. So if the world were not existent, then it would not have come into existence. This is the idea. And idamiti namarupa visheshavad vyakritam jagat. So the world, which is a matter of perception as idam, this, with some name and form, namarupa vishesha agre, that means before its creation, brahmaiva asit. So it was Brahman only. But the word Brahman is not used, asat is used, because it is avyakrita, avyakta. Tataha asato vai. From that unmanifested reality, singularity, sat pravibhakta namarupa vishesham ajayata utpannam. So the world, with all its distinctions like name, form, is created. So this way we understand the process of creation and the logical relation between the effect and the cause. In a way, Satkaryavada is accepted at empirical level in the Advaita. So therefore we cannot completely say that the world were non-existent. We never say that. We say that the world does not have absolute existence like the Brahman. So Brahman is the sole reality. The world, the Jiva, they have their temporary reality, but once the Brahma is realized, on that particular realization, these two disappear. This is what exactly the Adi Shankaracharya explains us. How the Jiva disappears? The Jivatva disappears. How? Because Jivatva is Aupadhika. Shankaracharya explains that it is due to some conditions, adjuncts, that there is Jivatva to the Brahman. And when this is removed, the condition is removed, then there remains only the Brahman. This is with regards to the Jiva. What about the Jagat? He says the Jagat is inert, lifeless, but it is manifested. So it is only Vivarta. That means it is only a superimposition which cannot be termed as either real or unreal. Sadasadhyam anirvachaniyam. But Jagat Sat, if somebody says that Sat should be properly defined. If it is just pravrutti nimittatvam, So we may say that even during the illusion, like the appearance of snake on the rope also, temporarily the snake also produces some reaction in us, that we also get trembled. We also shriek, and we also take a stick and try to kill it. But all this is really a result of a non-existent thing actually. So pravritti nimittatva is possible even in a non-existent or illusion. So therefore, on that particular base, the Jagat cannot be termed as existent. So Shankaracharya is explaining Kim tatah prabhiviktam karyamiti pituriva putraha. Now he says, like the son is born from the father, the world, is it born from the Brahma? No. Tat asat shabdavacham swayameva atmanameva akuruta. So it is not that the Brahman is separate and something is produced from that. It's not like that. But the Brahman only has made itself into the world. This is the idea. Yasmadevam tasmad brahmaiva sukritam. So therefore, the Brahman is termed as sukrutam. That means swakrutam, swayam karta. So it is swayam karta. It does not depend on any other apparatus for its creation, for any creation. It is swatantra. And that swatantra is basically the kartrutva. It is not other type of kartrutva. Though we say pratijna drishtanta anuparodhat prakritischa. So the Brahman is understood as both the material cause and the instrumental cause. It doesn't depend on any other material. Then how to create all this? For that there is a solution in the Brahma Sutra, that Vaishamya Nairgrunyani Prayojanavatva Lokavattu Leela Kaivalyam Vaishamya Nairgrunyena Sapekshatvat Tadha Hi Darsheti Na Karma Avibhagadichet Na Anaditvat. So there he has explained Upapadyate cha Apyupalabhyate cha Sarvadharma Upapattescha. So here he has explained that it depends on the karma of the jiva, so that jiva will get some limitation. But for everything else, it is swatantra. Swayam kartru brahma. Because it is the cause of everything. Sarvakarana karanam brahma. Then how can we say that it also depends on some other thing? Because when it was alone, there was nothing else. So for creation, it is sufficient. It is self-existent, self-referent Brahman. Yasmadva swayam akarot sarvam sarvatmana tasmat punya rupenapi tadeva brahma karanam sukrutam uchyate. So because it has created everything, it has created the punya also. That's why Brahman is termed as sukrutam. That is, Brahman is good deed or punya. Because in the world also we see sarvadhapitu phalasambandhadikaranam sukruta shabdavacham prasiddham. So that which is connected with some fruit is sukrutam, because it is fruitful. People say when something is fruitful, it is sukrutam, well done. So here Brahma swakrutam, sukrutam, swayam kartru, because it does not depend on any other thing, but the fruit is evident. Yadi punyam yadi va anyat sat prasiddhir nitye chetanavat karane sati upapadyate. Punyam va anyadva prasiddhi nitye chetanavat karane sati upapadyate. So punya or anything else is possible only when there is a conscious agent, and that is the Brahman. Tasmad asti tad Brahma sukrita prasiddhehe. So therefore, behind all this wonderful design of the universe, there is a conscious principle called Brahma. This is exactly what Udayanacharya also tells us in his Nyaya Kusumanjali. Of course, the Nayayika also take some of this reasoning. They say, Sapekshatvad anaditvad vaichitryad vishwavruttitah pratyatma niyamad bhuktehe asti hetur alaukikah. So in a way, they actually they offer some kind of reasoning that on the basis of the diversity in the universe, on the basis of the design of the universe, you infer the presence of some agent. They don't say Brahma because they don't use that word, but they use Ishvara. And their Ishvara is not the Brahma of the Vedantins. So there is slight difference. So in this way, they say that on the basis of this diversity and design, you should postulate or you should actually infer the presence of an agent. Vedantin also says here that you see the design here, Sukrutam, and from this you understand Tasmad Asti Brahma. So there is Brahma that is the cause of all this. Itascha Asti. Not only that, there is another reason. See, Rasatvat. You just observe everywhere. From the tiny microbial creature to the grossest one, you find everywhere rasa. It's actually for that alone that everything is alive. What is that rasa? Rasa is the essence, rasa is the ananda, bliss, that happiness, and all our endeavor is only to get that rasa. And unfortunately, because of our ignorance, we will be making all efforts. We will be aspiring for bliss. But unfortunately, we don't know exact source of rasa. Upanishads tell us that this is the source of rasa, that is God, Lord, or the Supreme Self. He is the source of. Then Shankaracharya says, don't search for that rasa outside, it is within you. Then we get into ourselves and we understand that the ananda does not depend on any external thing. No individual is required, no object is required, because I am Ananda. I am Ananda. So that is very essential matter of this Advaita. Therefore, Shankaracharya says, Sushuptyaika Siddhaha Shivaha Kevaloham. That Shivatva, it is actually the Ananda aspect of Brahman. Kuto Rasatva Prasiddhar Brahmanaha. Why do you say it is Brahma? Now you say Rasa. So why? How Brahma is known as Rasa or termed as Rasa? Says Yadvai Tat Sukrutam. Because the Brahman has given the design. Raso Vaisaha, and for that it is the Rasa. Raso Nama. What is Rasa? That which satisfies us, gives us happiness, like any taste. That is Rasa. Rasamevayam labdva anandi bhavati. So on getting this rasa, everybody gets happiness, pleasure, positivity. Though it is chemical in a way, it is spiritual. Chemically, when we eat some chocolates, when we take some food, so we feel elevated, relaxed, because the dopamine is properly secreted. But he is talking about the spiritual bliss, and it is within. Na asataha ananda hetutvam drushtam loke. So, do you ever find a non-existent thing giving happiness? If it is non-existent, it cannot give happiness. So, it should be existent. So, if Brahman is the source of Ananda, then Brahman should be of the nature of Ananda. And Sat also existent. And Bhahyananda sadhana rahita api aniha nireshana brahmana bahya rasa labhadiva sananda drishyante vidvamsaha. So those who have realized the Brahman always appear as if engrossed in that great bliss, like Shuka Maharshi. You always find them being totally merged in that bliss, because they are one with the bliss. What is the secret behind their experience of bliss? I remember a story. A sadhu, an ascetic, was just resting under a tree in the shadow because it was scorching sunlight outside. And a king also came there, and he also shared that. And he asked the ascetic, "Hey, who are you? Where do you live? How do you make your living?" Then the hermit, the ascetic replies, I just am a sadhu. I have a hermitage and I just live like this. Now, do you have antapura? Do you have all pleasures, comforts? Then the ascetic says, I don't require anything. But king extols, he praises. He says, he actually boasts himself, says, see, I have so many comforts, all that. Then the ascetic says, Manasicha paritushte koarthavan ko daridraha. See, Your Majesty, when the mind is content, who is really rich, who is really poor? So it is all mental, it is only psychological. So therefore, I don't find any difference between both of us. Similarly, if the Brahman is not of the nature of Ananda, where do we get? But all the self-realized people are getting Ananda, and they are actually dancing in ecstasy. Then we should understand that there is something happening in them on getting which they are experiencing that, and in a way they are one with the bliss. This is actually the Bhakti Rasa. Madhusudan Saraswati tells us in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Bhakti Rasayanam. In Bhakti Chandrika also Narayan Tirtha explains. In Jnaneshwari, Jnandev Maharaj explains. And Gulab Rao Maharaj explains in many of his books on Bhakti. So all this is enough to convince us that the God or the Lord, that entity, is full of bliss. And when we really connect ourselves with that, we also get that, and our life will be fully filled with that bliss. That is bhakti, because bhakti is never different from ananda. Then people say, is not there that ananda in jnana? Yes, in jnana also it is there, but jnana is more the chitta aspect of Brahma, but Ananda aspect is more in the bhakti. So this is what our tradition explains, especially the Varkari in the Maharashtra area. So he says Tasmad Asti, and now he is explaining Brahmanaha. So the realized souls, Vidvamsaha, Bahya Rasa Labhadiva Sananda Drushyante. Even in the absence of any external thing, they always appear totally filled with joy. They don't require any other external thing to get the bliss or happiness or joy. It is within. So this you observe, he says. So this happiness is not in attachment, but it is in detachment. Trushnakshaya sukhasyete kalam narahanti shodashim. Subhashita tells us that actually the detachment is the source of all pleasure, happiness. Itascha asti. And there is another reason why we should believe in this Anandamaya Brahma, that is Prananadi Kriya Darshanat. Because there is the Prana and Apana Kriya. Ayamapi hi pindo jivatah pranena praniti apanena apaniti. Yes, because of that Brahma only, this individual soul being in the body is inhaling, exhaling. That means the activity in the form of inhalation and exhalation is possible because there is the Brahma. Otherwise, who has filled this body with the vital breath? Evam vayaviya indrikascha cheshtaha samhatahi karyakaranahi nirvartyamana drushyante. So all these activities of the senses, all these activities of the prana, they are possible because of that reality. And when they are connected with the body, तच्च एकार्थवृत्तित्वेन संहननं नान्तरेण चेतन असंहतं संभवति. But this activity of the senses, of this vital breath, everything in the body would not be possible without a conscious, intelligent agent. Anyatra adarashanat. Because such thing is not observed anywhere in the lifeless objects. They are not breathing. We are breathing. So the difference is very evident here, obvious here, that because of the Brahman reality, we are able to inhale and exhale. Tadaha tadyadiyesha akashe parame vyomni guhayam nihita anando nasyat na bhavet. So if that Brahman were not there in this guha called heart, then kaha eva loke anyad apana cheshtam kuryat. So who would actually breathe in and breathe out? Who is doing all this? So the Brahman inside, and the Brahman being there, there is this activity that the prana is getting in and getting out. Kaf pranyat prananamba kuryat tasmadasti tad brahma yadartha karyakarana prananadi cheshtaha tatkruta eva cha anando lokasya. So because there is the Brahman in the seat of the heart, there is the activity in the form of inhalation, exhalation, and experience of bliss. Otherwise, not possible at all. Because Esha Hyeva Paratma Anandasya Anandayati Sukhayati Lokam Dharmanurupam. Because this Brahma, this Atma, Paratma, Paramatma, so this only bestows on this bliss on every being according to their dharma. Because the more we do dharma, the more will be the quantity of dharma, of ananda. So actually the amount of ananda depends on the amount of dharma we commit. So that's why everywhere it is stated that dharma leads to punya and punyam leads to ananda. So therefore, if anybody wants to get that particular ananda, then he should turn to dharma. Because adharma is not good for body, mind, spirit in this world, in the next world. Some may say that where is the proof that there is next world? Then the same question was posed to a mathematician when he was asked, do you believe in hell or heaven? Do you perform good things? Then he said, see, I'm a mathematician. I say 50-50. There is hell, heaven. There is no hell and heaven. Okay. Now my choice is, if I do good things, I may go to heaven, may not. But if I do bad things, and if hell exists there, then I would definitely go to hell. So therefore, to avoid that situation, I generally perform good things. So this is safe side. So similarly, if a person performs dharma, it leads to sukha, it leads to ananda. Parichinno vibhavyate pranabhihi ityarthaha. So this atma, that is the nature of ananda, is observed, perceived, or understood as being limited due to our ignorance. Avidyaya parichinna iva. Bhaya abhaya hetutvat vidvat avidishor asti tad brahma. And this brahma is of course common to both a realized soul and ignorant one. It is common because it is the source of bhaya to an unrealized soul, abhaya to a realized soul. It is common, and it is all how they dispose. That means how each soul disposes. The disposition is very important. Bhaya bhaya hetutvat. So does the Brahman is cause of fear or no fear? Depends on you. Because see, when a person is sleeping alone in the room and there is power cut, he is alone. And if he thinks that there is another, some spirit or that, he will definitely be afraid. He will be scared. But if he is assured that he is alone, there is no fear at all. Similarly, dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati. So therefore, from Dvaita there is fear because we always perceive something other than the self. And there is, of course, always the fear of losing something, getting and losing, a desire to get it, and a fear of losing that. And Ishavas Upanishad also tells us in the beginning that komoha kashokaha ekatvam anupashyatah. So when we are fully, firmly established in that absolute single Brahman, there is neither shoka nor moha. So this is the idea. Katham abhaya hetutvam ityuchyate. Now, sadvastu ashrenena hi abhayam bhavati. So now Shankaracharya explains the psychological aspect of that, leading to spiritual reality, that when there is something real, we are assured there is no fear. When there is something non-real, then there is fear. Na asadvastvashrenena bhayanivritti rupapadyate. So see, if you firmly know, confirmedly know that there is some power, some reality, some supreme energy, and if you pose yourself on that and fully relaxed, there is no fear. But avastu ashrenena, and if you are not firmly convinced and you have a doubt regarding the existence of God, and you try to pose yourself, there is no base, and there will always be fear, because you don't believe inside. Internally, you don't believe. So that belief should be firm. That is Shraddha. Shraddha, Astikya Buddhihi, Shankaracharya said. So the Shraddha is the source of all experiences, yogic experience, Vedanta experiences. That should be there. Katham abhaya hetutvam. How the Brahman is the source of all abhaya, fearlessness. Yada hyeva yasmadeva sadhaka tasmin brahmani. When the sadhaka, the upasaka, the seeker of truth, when he is established in what? In that Brahman. Of what sort? Brahman. Adrishye. That means he is imperceivable. Kim is adrushye? Drishyam nama drashtavyam vikaraha. Because drishya means whatever is visible, that is drishya, and it is a product. Because drishyatva is actually the reasoning that Madhusudana Saraswati also has taken to establish mithyatva. So therefore drishyam is only mithya, and adrishya, that is Brahma. Adrushye, na drishyam adrushyam, that is unmodified singular. Etasmin adrushye avikare avishe bhute anatme. Here atma is taken in the sense of body. Then anatme, that means having no body. No body in the sense, as the Ishavas Upanishad tells, that is saparyagat shukram akayam avranam asnaviragum shuddham apapa viddham. So asnaviram apapa viddham. Taking these two words, Shankaracharya explains there also in the Upanishad Bhashya that Brahman has no kind of body, no gross body, no subtle body, no causal body. So the same thing is implied here, that anatme, having no body. Yasmad adrishyam tasmad anatma. Because it is invisible, that is imperceivable, imperceptible. Why? Because it has no body, and not of any kind. That's why it is imperceptible. Yasmad anatmim tasmad aniruktam. So because it doesn't have a body, because body, we say, automatically it refers to mass, it refers to gravity, it refers to space-time continuum, the event, space-time event, that particular condition comes. But Brahman has no such condition. Therefore, aniruktam, it cannot be properly expressed. Vishesho hi niruchyate visheshascha vikaraha. This is beautiful, beautiful explanation of Shankaracharya, that he says, see, nirukta, nirukta. Ukta, actually nirvachanam. And he says, see, whatever has particularity can be properly explained or defined. Without a particular characteristic, nothing can be described. And a particular characteristic is nothing but a modification. And if you say the Brahman has a Vishesha, it implies that it has the Vikara. Then Brahman having Vikara is not tenable. So very intelligent exposition here of the Brahman, that it is Anirukta. Vishesho hi niruchyate, Visheshascha Vikaraha. So this itself speaks of so many science formulas that you can explain something, describe something, define something only when it has some particular characteristic, and possessing some particular characteristic itself is a sign of modification. And Brahman has no sign of modification, therefore no particular characteristic, therefore it cannot be expressed. Avikarancha Brahma Sarva Vikara Hetutvat Tasmad Aniruktam. Because Brahman is the source of all modification later, it itself is avikari, ayam atma uchyate, yata etam tasmad anilayanam. Nilayanam means nida, ashraya. It is anilayanam. It does not depend on any other. Because when it is alone, when it is the singular reality, it does not depend on any other thing. It is the source of everything. It is the source of everything. In the Bhagavatam also it is said, Abhasascha nirodhascha yatastu adhyavasiyate sa ashreya param brahma. So the Brahma is the ashraya. It is the substratum. It is the locus. It is the support of everything. Dhritescha mahimnaha asya asminnupalabdhehe. In the Brahma Sutra also, Dhriti is said. Sacha prashasanat. Because of the instruction, order, command of the Parabrahman only, everything is in its orbit. The universe is just going through an order, not the entropy. And this is because of that particular supreme energy. That is Brahman. And because everything is produced later, it cannot have a base at all. It is Swadhara, like Swakrita, Swaprakasha. It is the Adhara of everything, but it does not have any other Adhara. Tasmin etasmin adrushye anatme anirukte anilayane brahmani. What kind of Brahma? Sarva karya dharma vilakshane. And this Brahma is distinct from all the characteristics of a product. So if you compare, whatever a product is supposed to possess is not found in the Brahman. That's why Brahman can never be the Karya. That kind of Brahma. Because Sarva Karana Karana can never be the Karya. Abhayamiti Kriya Visheshanam. Abhayam Vindate. So Abhayam. So you can say Abhayam, Abhayam. Even if you change the gender into Abhayam, then Abhayam Pratishtham Vindate. So it will be an adjective of the word Pratishtha in the feminine gender. Abhayam Pratishtham, Sthiram Pratishtham, Bhairahitam Pratishtham. This. If you take that Abhayam, then it should be a Kriya Visheshana. That means it should go with the verbal form Vindate. Pratishtham Sthitim Atma Bhavam Vindate Labhate. So that particular person will get Pratishtha, will get that establishment. In what? In the self. Adha tada sa tasmin nanatvasya bhaya hetoh avidya kritasya adarshanaat abhayangato bhavati. So because the cause of all dvandva, dvaita, bhaya is avidya, and on the destruction of this avidya, the self-realized soul will not have any fear. This is the cause of all ananda. Swarupa pratishto hyaso yada bhavati tada nanyat pashyati. So naturally, when, like in deep meditation, we are engrossed in ourselves, within ourselves, then we don't see any other thing. No second reality. Vritti sarupyam itaratra is lost. It is only drashtu swarupe avasthanam. This is the beautiful state of experience we get in meditation. Then nanyat pashyati, nanyat shrunoti, nanyat vijanati. Yes, absolutely. When we get into deep state of meditation, we neither see something, nor hear something, nor feel something. We remain as pure consciousness. Anyasya hyanyato bhayam bhavati atmana eva atmano bhayam yuktam. See, when there are two things, one may fear from other, but when there is only one self, there cannot be any bhayam, fear at all. Tasmat atmaiva atmano abhaya karanam. See, ultimately you have to believe that the self is the source of all fearlessness. This is what Vivekananda exhorted. Vivekananda rode in other countries, telling them that the self is the source of all energy. It is the source of all knowledge, wisdom, everything, self. And Shankaracharya beautifully says, Atmaiva Atmanaha Abhaya Karanam. So you don't seek fearlessness from other sources, because the self is the source of all fearlessness. Sarvato hi nirbhaya brahmana drushyante satsu bhayahetushu. So when everything is under some pressure, and when everything is a source of even fear, the self-realized souls remain in fearlessness. They don't get any fear at all. Tacha ayuktam asati bhayatrane brahmani. And this would not be possible if the Brahman were not the protector from the bhayam. So bhayatranam is in Brahma, is the Brahman, and these people are totally established in that Brahman. Therefore, they don't get any fear at all. Tasmat tesham abhaya darshanat astitad abhaya karanam Brahma. So from this we infer, that means from the life of these self-realized people moving around amongst us, that we understand that there is the Brahman, which is the source of all fearlessness and bliss, and these people are completely posed in that, and therefore they don't get any fear. They experience absolute bliss, because that is the Brahman. They are in the Brahman. They are with the Brahman. They are the Brahman. And therefore they are Ananda. Kada asau abhayam gato bhavati sadhuko yada nanyat pashyati atmani chantaram bhedam nakurute abhayam gato bhavati iti abhiprayah. So when does the sadhaka, the aspirant, not get any fear and gets only fearlessness? Yada, when he does not see anything else, when he does not see any second one or difference within the self, then he gets complete fearlessness. Yada punar avidyavasthayam hi yasmadeshu avidyavan avidya pratyupasthapitam vastu taimirika dvitiya chandravat pashyati atmani chaitasmin brahmani udapi aram ut aram udaram. Ut means api, aram means alpam. So this way. Now, when this particular soul remains under the spell of this avidya, ignorance, and when avidya is dominating, then when avidya itself projects something else other than the Brahman, then just like a person who has got the, we say generally, some eye disease, when he gets that, then dvitiya chandravat pashyati. So because of some problem in the eye, we see as if there are two moons. Even though there is one, we just see, because there is some defect in the eye, we see two moons, and later we correct and see one moon. Similarly, a person under the influence of the avidya, sees something other than the Brahman, and therefore he gets fear. And ut api aram alpam antaram chidram bheda darshanam kurute. That means when he has got even a slightest feeling of difference in the Brahman, bheda darshana mevahi bhaya karanam. So it is absolute. Now there is no doubt in that. Bheda darshana mevahi bhaya karanam. So the experience of some other thing than the Brahman itself is the source of cause of all fear. Alpamapi bhedam pashyati. So he sees bhedam, therefore bhayam. Atha tasmat bheda darshanat hetorasya bheda darshanah atmano bhayam bhavati. So because of that avidya, when the self is perceiving the bheda other than the self, there is bhayam from mrityu, vardhakya, etc. etc. Tasmat atmaiva atmano bhayakaranam avidushaha. So now Shankaracharya he is making the distinction between these two, that to a realized soul, the self is the source of all fearlessness. To a non-realized, unrealized soul, the same self is the source of all fear because he is under the influence of ignorance. Tadetadaha tad brahmatveva bhayam bheda darshino vidushaha ishwaronyo mattohamanyas samsari ityevam vidushaha. So when the individual soul is under the spell of this ignorance, avidya, and feels that I am samsari, transmigrating soul, I am bound in the body, I have absolutely all these cycles of births and deaths, and Ishvara is different, he is somewhere. And as long as the individual soul is under this notion, so long, tadeva brahma alpamapi antaram kurvato bhayam bhavati. So that Brahma itself will be the cause of fear to him, because Bheda Drishti. Because the problem is this particular individual soul is blinded with this ignorance spiritually and is unable to perceive the truth, and because of that he is seeing something other than the Brahman, and there is fear. Tasmad vidwan api avidwan eva aso. So therefore, though the word vidwan is used there, we should understand that it is in the sense of avidwan only. Yoyam ekam abhinnam atmatattvam napashyati. Who is avidwan? Who is an ignorant person? He is an ignorant person who does not see the reality, who sees something else other than this Atma. So this Atma itself is the reality, and the person should always be totally relaxed in this Atma Tattva. Uchcheda hetu darshanat uchchedya abhimatasya bhayam bhavati. So naturally, uchchedya abhimatasya bhayam bhavati. So when a person sees something as if it has destruction, so naturally when he sees something, he remembers this may be the cause of this destruction. So destruction, cause of destruction, and all this leads to fear. So I limit myself to this body, and looking at other bodies, I think, Arey, if something happens to me, I lose this body, then I will be lost. This is the fear. But when I realize that this body is different, I am different. Vijnanam Atma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, anything. No wrong in that. If it is spiritually believed, Aham Brahmasmi, there is no wrong in that. People unnecessarily mock, ridicule, and say, just laughing at that, Aham Brahmasmi. How can you say? People say Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. It is not that just superficial Aham Brahmasmi. What they want to say, that the supreme energy Brahma is this limited energy Aham. That means Aham, that which is functioning in the body in limited manner, is an iota, a portion of the same unlimited energy Brahma. So they are actually pointing to that unlimited energy through this limited. This is Arundhati Nyaya. First, you see this limited energy in the form of aham. Aham means not that body, male or female, not that body, Brahmana, Kshatriya, immaterial, not that body, human or animal, but actually aham is that particular sensation functioning in the body as I. This is the I principle. It is Brahman. So we should not be totally subjective in that. Aham Brahmas means I in the body, male of this age. I am Brahma. How can it be possible? People unnecessarily laugh at it, not understanding the essence of the Vedanta. And for that, training is required, of course. In the Kathopanishad also, it is very clearly stated that Nashanta Manasovapi Prajnanena Enam Apnuyat. It says this Atma cannot be easily understood by a person who is not disciplined, who has no self-discipline. So the first step to spiritual life is self-discipline. Otherwise, it is not possible. And here it is very clearly stated that the same Atma can be the source of fear or or the fearlessness. This is exactly what Bhagavad Gita tells us. Atmaiva hi atmano bandhu, atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Same idea, different words. So anuchedyo hi acheda hetus tatra asati ucheda hetu uchedye na tadarshana karyam bhayam yuktam. So naturally, when we realize that the Atman is one and can never have destruction, then we don't see any other cause of destruction. Even if we see something, we don't see that as the cause of destruction because it doesn't have any destruction at all. Then there is no bhayam, there is no fear at all. Sarvancha jagat bhayavad drishyate. So the entire world around appears as a cause of fear. We will be all the while fearing from others. Nowadays, more in the COVID situation, we generally look at the other person with suspicious eyes. Do I get corona from him? Bhayam, bhayam. From others, is he a thief? He is a murderer? He is a criminal? Or from the government also? Will it increase the tax slab? Will it curtail so many comforts? All this is fear, fear, fear everywhere. Fear from fear of losing something that we possess, fear of not getting something we aspire for. This is everywhere fear in the world. Tasmat jagato bhayadarshana gamyate nunam tadasti bhayakaranam uchcheda hetuhu anuchchedyatmakam yato jagat bibhetiti. So from this we understand that there is some cause of fear from which the entire world fears. Arey, something may happen to me. But what is the cause of fear? Is actually ignorance is the cause of fear. Klesha hetuhu. This is actually the klesha hetu, that is avidya. And because of avidya, there is fear. Otherwise, there is no fear at all. Tadetasminnapi arthe esha shloko bhavati. And even in this sense, there is a traditional shloka. Now, Shankaracharya ends this particular bhashya on this Saptama Anuvaka and now goes on explaining the Ashtama Anuvaka. So here we stop. This is the 7th Anuvaka today, and I thank you all. Meet again in the next class. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.